Hey everyone, so for solo queue tip of the day number 5, what I'm going to be covering is first base itemization because a lot of you guys want to know what to think about when you go back to base. How do you know what to buy? So I'm going to cover it in this video. And what I'm going to do is use three specific examples where I'm at in base at differing amounts of gold so I can kind of break down the steps for you so you can get that perfect itemization off. So in this specific game, I get an early gank and I get back to base on a weird amount of gold, 600. So to give a bit of context here, I started a Doran's Ring and I had 2 health potions. I didn't start Corrupting Pot and I was versing a Jace. So first thing I like to think about, am I versing a champion that requires me to adapt my normal build path? So, champions like that may be Yasuo. It may be some other heavy AD mid laners like Talon and things like that, which would mean maybe I need to get an early cloth armor. But in this specific game, I don't really feel like I need to adapt my build like to an early cloth armor because I'm pretty safe playing my own game because Jace isn't going to continually all in me. Like he has to play the poke game a little bit with like me. The next thing I like to think about is how heavy trading is the matchup. And by heavy trading, I mean how often are we going to be trading a lot of HP, And because Jace is early game and he wants to kind of pressure me early game, we both have Ignite, we don't have TP. Just the way I think this lane is going to play out, I think we are going to be trading a lot of HP. So what that means is that I generally want to have more than one health potion. I want to have either a refillable or a corrupting pot. And I want to have some form of extra laning items, whether it's an extra Doran's or a Dark Seal, because these are really great laning items. So, given what I've said here, and given that I've started Doran's Ring and a health pot, what I should do, the optimal buy for me would be sell this health potion and get a refillable, right? Because I need some more. I need something that can consistently top me up throughout this game because I know that Jace will consistently poke me. Which is the first mistake I see a lot of people make is that they don't sell health pots and they just stay on health pots and they just keep buying them because they're super gold inefficient and actually gets you really far behind. And what I would actually do is, yeah, get my refillable, and then I'll just buy a Dark Seal and a pink. And what that's going to do is Dark Seal for laning phase is going to work really well with the refillable because it's going to, allow me to stay in lane with this Jace a lot longer. And it's going to keep me topped up. And then it's also going, since I've got a kill early, and it's a great snowball item and it's great for lane. So it's going to keep me topped up, allow me to snowball a little bit more. And the pink's going to help my jungler re-gank the lane. If I started Corrupting Pot, you may ask. Well, if I started Corrupting Pot, then again, I have the choice between a Doran's and a Pink Ward or a Dark Seal and a Pink Ward. That's just real preference. I personally prefer Dark Seal because it's a bit more snowbally, and given that in this specific game I've already got a kill, I feel like the jungler's going to play around mid. I think Dark Seal would just be overall better. But if you feel like you can just go for solo kills and things like that, and you don't not going to need to sustain as much, then an extra Doran's could be quite good. So let's take a look at another example. So in this example, I end up getting a dive off on the mid laner early on here. My team helps me dive. And I end up being on 900 gold when the jungle flash kills me. So this is, again, is a little bit awkward. So I'm versing it, and right now I'm straight away thinking, all right, I'm versing a Yasuo and a Karthus. So it's a bit awkward for me to build any other way. So let's see what I end up buying here. And let's see if I can break down my thought process. So I actually go for the full lane. This is what I call, this is like the full laning itemization. And compared to last time, first few things I'm thinking about straight away. Do I need to itemize specifically for my champion? Well, yes, some people might say, yeah, maybe it was beneficial for you to go for a cloth armor, maybe two cloth armor and an amp tomb and a pink ward. And then on the other side is, how heavy trading is this matchup? Well, Yasuo versus Zoe is a very heavy trading matchup. And because I've gone Electrocute and Ignite, he also has Ignite, and I've got a kill on him, and none of us have Summoners, I know that it's going to be heavy trading. So because of that, and because the heavy trading I think is going to be so intense, and it's going to be so much decided in the early game, I've gone full all in on the Doran's Ring and the Dark Seal and a Pink Ward, rather than going towards a Seekers. And I think this, obviously, a few things depends on the champion you're playing. I could have also got a Blasting Wand, but again, if I go the Blasting Wand route, I don't have any. I have less laning stats in a way. I have less HP. I'll have less healing from potions. I have less mana, less snowballing potential in a way, less mana regen. All these stats here that I won't have for lane, and If I die, it's just going to be really hard for me to come back in the game. And because right now I want to stay alive, I don't have summoners, I want to keep healthy, um, I decide to go for this more lane centric. So let's just say, for example, I was versing a lane matchup that I automatically already win. Something that's less heavy trading. Maybe I'm versing an Orianna or something like that, and I feel pretty safe just farming up to my lost chapter. Maybe in another world, what I would do is think, okay, do I need mobility because it's a skill shot reliant one, or can I go straight for my lost chapter? Maybe against Orianna, I don't need the boots, so maybe I would just go straight into Amplifying Tomb and a Mana Crystal. But in a matchup where maybe I really need, it's a Syndra or something, I might actually opt into boots. So notice how I'm thinking about the matchup, I'm envisioning how I think the matchup will play out. Do I need movement speed to dodge skill shots? Do I need AP? Do I need laning stats to survive the lane? If I don't need either of them, then I can just start building towards my major components, which would be a lost chapter. So it's just a simple logical process of breaking down, okay, if this no, if this yes, if this no, and breaking it down and then having a really solid logic behind your buys. So let's take a look at one more example. So in this example, I actually am fortunate enough to actually have a really good base. I base on 1100 gold. So when you base on 1100 gold, you have a lot of options here. This actually means that you can end up purchasing fully upgraded boots. So that's actually what I end up deciding this game. So how did I come to this conclusion? So I felt like I was so far ahead in this lane that I didn't really need any laning stats to get me through. So you may ask, why boots and not build into a lost chapter or something like that? Most of your competitors will lost chapter, or why just get tier 1 boots? So this is more like a Zoe specific thing. I also see it done on champions like Orianna and Syndra, where you may be versing a champion that's really reliant on hitting skill shots. Boots can be a really, really solid pick. So, an example, say I'm playing Orianna, I base on, I think it's around 1200 to get Mercury Treads. If I base and get Mercury Treads and I'm playing Orianna versus Zoe, for example, if he lands a bubble, it's so much harder for him to actually do damage because I have a lot of magic resist with Mercury Treads, and the tenacity is really helpful. But if I end up just buying, that's just something I need to consider in my matchup. But again, let's bring this back to fundamentals. I'm versing a LeBlanc. Do I need the laning stats? No. Am I versing some niche champion that I need to build specifically? No, not really. Do I have enough to get my straight core item, which is a lost chapter? No. If I had 1300, yes, I'd probably straight up buy a lost chapter because it's very difficult to buy that item. Do I benefit from getting boots in this game? Like, am I versing a skill shot reliant champion? Yes. So, I end up deciding to go for the tier 2 boots. This is something that I recommend sometimes, and I recommend you trying. And let's just say I go, another completely viable option here would just be to get tier 1 boots, Amplifying Tomb, and a Mana Crystal or 2. I think I can even get 2. Yeah, I could nearly get 2 Amplifying Tombs and boots, nearly. But yeah, even just maybe a mana Crystal, Amplifying Tomb, and boots, and a pink ward or something like that. That is completely viable as well. So either of those two would be really good. Something that I wouldn't agree with is going full laning items right here. If you feel as though, especially in this matchup, I'm already ahead. I've got a really great base. He has no pots. I don't think it's going to be heavy trading. I think the way it's going to be is like, I'm going to hit one big burst and then he's going to have to go to base. It's not going to be constant little trades. So that's kind of how I got to that conclusion here. So I hope these kind of make sense. I'll do a lot more videos on itemization. This is just like the part 1. So keep updated, and I'll keep pumping out more videos. Thanks for watching.